What other topics do we have on the table? Because I did see something very troubling come across my desk this morning. DJ Akademiks sued for rape and defamation. Basically,
what's up with that?
So the gist of it is basically like a couple months ago when Ak was having a bunch of turbulence going on with his ex / I don't know, maybe current girl. A conversation sparked where basically like a girl, some light-skinned chick, makes a video where she's basically like laying out this crazy ass story about Ak, claiming that his two friends drugged her, or at least got her super drunk, took advantage of her on a pool balcony type area, like the area next to the pool, and then she claims that she later on woke up on the couch with Ak raping her. And she also claims that she went to the hospital and got a rape kit done, and that they found his sperm inside of her.
Oh,
yeah. So, but like that all, like a bunch of that, like she made those accusations, not like all the specifics, but she basically said all that a couple months ago. Didn't hear anything for a while, and then boom, today it turns out it's the same lawyer from the Lil Rob thing, which is obviously very of interest because Akademiks really like took aim at the Lil Rod guy, who was basically like Diddy's former producer. The same lawyer who's helping the Lil Rod producer guy file the lawsuit against Diddy has also linked up with the girl that wants to sue Akademiks, and they're suing him now for basically, you know, rape and then also the defamation because he talked about it on the podcast. I don't know like what happens from here, but holy shit, this is pretty serious that this girl, she decided to go all out. So this is going to be a wild chapter. I don't know how much this changes for him because he's not exactly like super tapped in on like a corporate level, you know, like he does shit with labels and everything, but it's not like he's with Complex anymore. It's not like he has a Spotify deal anymore because like for me personally, when I first got canceled and had all this shit put out there about me, the first thing and really the only like significant thing that happened besides random people talking shit was just Atlantic. It all of a sudden became like a huge issue for them to be fucking with me, you know? So they had to do this huge internal investigation, etc.
But you wasn't fucking with that anyways. Like you were like low-key over it, right? Like,
I mean, I wasn't exactly like excited about it, but to be honest, like it was starting to get kind of good around the time that this shit happened because we had just put out the Take Cam Block Boy record. So all of a sudden my ass, like I was kind of like not super stoked on it, but then that record comes out, that record's really making noise, and I'm starting to kind of get the taste of like, oh, okay. So they're going to like basically like put together these records / help me put together these records, and then they're going to put a shitload of marketing muscle behind them.
But then they wanted you to sign.
So I was kind of like starting to fuck with the vibe of like, oh, what this might be like. But then, yeah, obviously then that shit comes out and that kind of just like slows everything down massively. But yeah, I mean, that was another problem is that they wanted me to sign Skinny from the 9. And when I said I wanted to sign Draco the Ruler, they were like, no. So, I mean, that part sucked is that I felt very constrained.
We know the truth, homie.
Mike Karen, we know the truth. I felt very constrained in like who I could sign at the time, which kind of sucked. But it's in terms of them putting together records, that side of things was actually starting to look kind of productive.
Imagine having the opportunity to sign Draco and they're like, no. We want Skinny from the 9.
Yeah, but okay.
Just wrap your head around that.
Shout out Skinny. But this is the thing about it though, is that they'll sign APG and shit, bro. They'll sign like any New York drill rapper.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start talking about an LA gangster rapper, I realized very quickly like, oh, this is different to y'all. Yeah. Now, to some extent, I think that's kind of changed, but I mean, all those Bronx drill rappers are getting signed by big ass labels.
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of LA rappers that are like realistically pretty popping that are on some super gangster ass shit, but like probably don't have the same number of A&Rs.
Well, most of the labels
ain't doing numbers.
That's part of it, but also their labels.
Not dancing.
Their labels are out there. Though. Like the labels of the industry is there. You know what I mean? Most labels don't even have headquarters or offices in Los Angeles. Yeah, we got Capitol. What else? But what other major label has an office out here?
If APG had signed Draco, realistically, what the fuck would have happened to
Probably would have been. Yeah.
Now they do have like artists like him using their studio, which is on site. And okay, that's a concern because you don't want people coming and spraying your shit up on fucking Fairfax. But at the same time, I mean, like, okay.
LA is not safe.
Okay, but this is the thing too, is later on, that became a very understandable opinion of Draco. But at that time, Draco was not really like mega controversial like that. He hadn't even caught the case or anything yet at that point. We're talking like 2017. This is like super early on in the Draco saga.
This is like Big Bang Uchi's Draco.
Yeah, like, this is not Draco at war with some of the most dangerous gangs in LA. This is Draco like kind of just chilling.
Early.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, Well, at that point, Skinny's numbers were still going crazy though.
Oh no, Skinny looked like
he
was cracking.
Oh
yeah, he had a whole little thing on.
Draco came home from jail.
He had a picture with 6'9", and realistically, that was all you needed at that time.
Yeah, Skinny.
You get a picture with 6'9", you're signed.
Skinny was up. Yeah. Can't lie. Call it down the middle.
But anyway, I say all that to say.
So you needed to get.
I mean, I'm just gonna have to sit back and watch how this shit unfolds with Ak, because I do know that for me in my career, when I got accused of that shit, it was a fucking megaton bomb that all of a sudden made every single thing that I was trying to do in my career like exponentially more difficult. And to be fair, with me, they mostly just had 10-year-old accusations from like a way earlier part of my life. No charges, no lawsuit, nothing like that. So this isn't criminal charges, but it is a lawsuit. So I mean, I have to just kind of sit back and watch how it all unfolds. Do I actually think that Ak was like consciously like going to like fucking rape some girl while she's sleeping on the couch? Probably not. Like I don't really. I've never seen anything in this character that makes me think that was how he would be moving. But at the same time, when you do see that video of the girl explaining the situation, I mean, hey, maybe she's totally fucking lying, but it does kind of pull at your heartstrings a little bit because it sounds crazy.
Just like when, I think, was it Vlad that interviewed the girl that allegedly was raped by Tupac? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he got that whole story like forever ago.
Yeah, we all that tugged on our heartstrings, but I don't know if that's true or not. You feel me? I don't believe it.
She never said that Pac raped her.
Pac.
She was talking about his friends.
Oh, I thought that she said that. Oh, he was like complicit in some degree. I think
she fucked him willingly and then fucked the other dudes.
Right, like he lined up the train.
I believe that was the gist of it, but
he was a conductor.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
But just imagine you leave the room and it's a hot pussy bitch in the room. Like she might have did that willingly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
woke up with her ass sore, like,
and then regretted it. But my question is this: so Ak got sued. That got sued for rape.
It got announced today that they're suing him.
And I think that they sue someone for rape. Isn't that
I don't know.
Sexual abuse isn't rape a charge that the police file?
I think normally it would be a criminal charge, but I would guess that they probably tried to pursue that, and the cops didn't want to take up the case.
But now they might, huh?
I think that's probably already out the window if they're filing a lawsuit. I'm not really sure, but I guess like from a fan perspective, the thing that to me would be interesting is I know that as soon as I had that shit put on my name, it kind of changes how you get to talk publicly or how you get to, make content, because as soon as you come with some super judgmental shit, like I remember when Vic Mensa was talking shit about X at some like award show or whatever, like right after he died, and fucking X's mom was in the audience. And
the fuck?
Yeah, it was a whole thing. And like DJ Scheme was going crazy on Vic Mensa. Ski Mask was talking about him. I hopped in it, and Vic Mensa doesn't respond to them. He responds to me and just quote tweets what I said with a picture of an article about me being accused of some shit. And that's like, boom, like clincher, like everybody liking that shit. Like, oh, he fucking got him or whatever. And so it kind of becomes like that, like in your career, where if people have that super easy dunk to just unleash on you, it becomes kind of hard for you to be the guy out there acting as if you are morally pure and you're able to cast judgment on everybody. So I don't know if that kind of like takes his content or the or like the narratives that he's comfortable putting out there and kind of like neuters that to a certain extent. From a fan perspective, that's the most interesting thing to me about Ak's content.
That would literally be that's literally decimating the entire premise of what he does,
because so much of his content is kind of like him providing moral guidance to people in certain situations. He's going to take a storyline and he's going to say, Blueface, this is why you're fucking up. This is why your relationship that you're in right now, you should be doing things a different way. All of a sudden, when you start casting judgment like that and you have this kind of fucking article out there about you, it kind of like changes up how people perceive that shit.
Might not be, is he going to still be able to beef with the Freddie Gibbs of the world and the Meek Mills of the world to the same degree that he has been?
And you already like see that. You already like see people trying to use that shit against him.
We can't believe the bitch.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like hey, I agree with you, but there's a gigantic percentage of the world that will take her words and say, why would she have any reason to lie? I don't believe you're a piece of shit. We have all these different quotes of things that you said over the years. This all proves that you're a piece of shit, and then this one accusation corroborates it. Boom. you're done. That's how they'll try to play it, because he has been kind of like collecting enemies over the years in terms of like people he doesn't get along with in the industry and shit.
They essentially like with you, which I assume they will do with him, use your humor against you.
Oh yes,
and just past statements that were said completely in jest, and then all of a sudden like it creates this perfect storm for substantiating their false claims.
But to be fair, like, the difference between me and Ak in this situation is that when I got canceled, it was super fucking early in my career, and I had only had positive press up till that point. Like, I had Rolling Stone writing articles about how I was hip hop's next great tastemaker and shit like that. Whereas on the other hand, Akademiks has already had so much negative publicity from the mainstream media and shit, like, and like everything content wise that he's already put out has already been basically like combed through by people who hate him to try to create narratives against him, including like, there's like an old clip of him talking about, I think, Travis and Kylie or some shit, or not probably Tyga and Kylie or some shit.
Kylie, probably.
And he says something that if you take it out of context, is basically makes it sound like he's like okaying that, which I believe, like, when you listen to it in full context, he's not saying that that's cool. But like, I seen that has popped up so many fucking times on Twitter, and the other day I seen it with like 50,000 likes. So like, that's the difference between my situation back in 2017 and Akademiks situation right now, is that he already has the vibe of being kind of Teflon because he's been through the fire so many times with lesser accusations and lesser call outs, you know?
Right. But I mean, that R word.
Oh yeah.
Sheesh, that's a doozy right there.
Put that jacket
that's
on
a doozy.
And, that's a fucked up jacket.
And like the inverse, like, yeah, like, I don't believe a bitch, but also I don't want to like quote unquote victim blame either.
Right.
So it's like it's a very murky waters that we're traversing right there with that. But hopefully that's just not true.
I mean, I think he showed all the fucking proof back then. Because everything that happened, and I kind of sided with Ak. And me and Ak, we see eye to eye very rarely.
Right.
But I'm not, in this case, I'm never going to down you first. Like, because this is a serious case.
But there was a night where Akademiks was like, I think, involved in some drama with the Shea Glizzy girl, and then he like rushes to his studio and gets on stream even though he's been drinking, and he basically like outlined the entire story with this girl that filed the lawsuit. Like, he told the whole,
like a preemptive strike type, like
at that time. It was like a few months in advance, but yeah, he told this whole story. I'm assuming that that's probably part of this lawsuit, that they're probably saying that that's defamation right there. But to his credit, like, he already like saw this coming and like put out his own
camera
narrative.
And shit too, though. The whatever happened on the pool deck is on camera.
Yeah, they got some kind of footage. I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I remember little spurts of whatever happened, and then like Ak was the one drunk, and she wandered off with the friends, and allegedly they did whatever they did and trained her.
Right.
And she came back and got into bed with Ak, and Ak started waking up, and he just
smashed.
She said it was the couch, but
did he tap her on the shoulder at least first?
Like, he just said he was passed out.
But I mean, that is, I mean, okay, how many times in your life have you seen a girl come through the crib and get drunk and end up fucking a bunch of people? And
that's what I'm like,
you know,
not unheard of.
Like, yeah, we could focus in on the specifics of these accusations, or you could also acknowledge that this is something that we've all seen a million fucking times in our lives. It's just that she had the incentive to go get a lawyer because he's rich.
Right. Well, and this right here is the exact reason why it doesn't matter if what Kendrick said about Drake is true or not, because once you infiltrate the hive mind, everybody believes it, and then it's substantiated.
Lil Rod's probably about to sue Ak too then, right?
I don't know.
For
he should
defamation?
probably worry about Diddy
Yeah.
mostly. But that did occur to me as like, if this had happened 3 weeks ago, would Ak have caught a legendary stray on one of the Kendrick tracks?
It could have.
that would have been too crazy of a timeline for us to be existing in.
Yo,
Sure he would have.
Somebody,
I mean, Drake shot it out sharp. It's not outside of the realm of possibility.
You're right. Anything's possible. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a recording of Drake saying that he shouted him out.
Is it AI?
It's AI.
Did you make it?
Yeah, you made it up. You made it up.
Somebody said more like DJ accusations.
That's not funny.
No, somebody made me laugh really hard because they texted me, Act got a weird case. Why is he around? But then I seen like mad people say that on Twitter, so I'm like, okay, now it seems less funny. But nah, I mean, regardless of like whatever the fuck I've been through or whatever me and him been through, I hope that shit works itself out. But man, like when they decide that they want to fucking file a lawsuit and potentially take you to court for that shit, all we know is that there's going to be months and months and maybe years of them trying to make him look as bad as possible, which is like the number one power that they have against you is like, oh, we are going to control and harness the media to make this time period without you settle. If you don't settle, we're going to take this time period and we're going to make it hell for you.
Essentially,
so, I don't know.
Essentially very cash grabby.
I mean, they almost acknowledged that. They said like court is the last resort. Mr. Livingston didn't want, or Mr. Allen didn't want to play ball. Like I already used the word hubris on this podcast, but that was one quote that I saw. That's why I had that word in my head, is because I saw that like the lawyer said,
great
like,
word.
Mr. Allen's hubris will be the end of him.
Why does he have a fucking like first name for a last name and a last name for a first name? That's crazy.
Allen Livingston. I know. I totally forgot that was his name until I saw Livingston tattooed all over Selena Powell.
Yeah, fire.
I realized. Right.
That's a dub for Ack right there.
But best of luck to him.
That's crazy.
That's a dub right there. That's a W. W Ack. I mean, low key, like you feel me, like
money shot locations.
But isn't it also crazy that this is coming at the direct like? He's basically like just finished off the craziest couple of weeks that a streamer could possibly have, where like it seems like his audience like 10x'd.
Yeah,
during during the Kendrick and Drake thing.
Fucking up our fucking numbers.
Yeah. So now, Joe, I'm back on top. For sure, I think that all the podcasts in the like No Jumper and post No Jumper umbrella all saw dips in views from the fact that so many people were just watching Act do his thing, talking about that shit.